For our stacked bar chart design, you'll notice Tableau has already seen that we have changed the color of our year. So I don't need to change the color of my year because Tableau recognizes that it's the same field. So Tableau is going to apply that same color scheme anytime I use year on my color button in this workbook. So what I'm going to do now is let's go ahead and right click on my stacked bar chart tab. And let's duplicate this sheet. And again, I'm just going to rename mine stacked bar chart design. Okay. We're going to do a couple different things on this one, but most of what we're going to do is probably going to be about the same of what we did with our bar chart. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on our label button. Let's go ahead and show mark labels. You'll notice on some of our bars, we don't get a label here. So I don't see this 152 showing up. I don't see the 183 showing up or this top blue one. The reason that is Tableau is using some design best practice here that if a label is going to overlap either another mark or another label, Tableau is not going to fit it in there. Now there is an option here in our marks card. Once I'm on that label button, I can check this box, and if I do that, Tableau is going to force all of those labels on there. Now you'll notice there's some obvious places in here where it doesn't look very good. It's confusing. So I like this option typically being unselected. There are moments or times where I feel like it is helpful to have it, but for this one, I think it's okay to leave that box unchecked. Again, remember to get out of this menu, you can really click anywhere. I like clicking in this gray space down here to get rid of that menu. Let's go ahead and click on our title. I'm going to double click to edit that. And I'm going to change mine to say number of people admitted by year and age group. And I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to type in my 3 years followed by the pipe symbol. So 2020, 2021, then finally 2022. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to color each one of these years according to what we see on our legend here. What that eventually is going to allow me to do is to not use a legend when I go to put these on my dashboard, because I will have given my user kind of a visual cue as to what color represents what year. So I'm going to double click 2020. I like to bold it. And I'm going to come in here. You notice I have my 3 presets. If you don't have those preset, what you can do is click on more colors. I like using my pick screen color. And then I'm just going to highlight one of my 2020 years. You'll notice Tableau sees that and says, okay, that's the color it is. Then I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do the same thing with 2021. I'm going to double click it so it's highlighted. Let's make it bold. Again, I like clicking more colors, pick the screen color, and then I just hover over one of my 2021 bars. Click OK. And we'll do the same thing for 2022. The reason I like that screen color or pick the screen color option is that way I know exactly the same color I'm using on the bars is the same color I'm using in my titles. If I want to preview what that looks like, I can click apply. And now I see that I have my number of people admitted by year and age group, and then I have my 3 different years broken up by color. So I'm going to click OK here. Now because I have that, I don't need my legend over here anymore. So I'm going to click on my drop-down arrow, and then I'm going to choose Hide Card. All right, one thing I do want to do, I have my labels on my bars. So I'm going to get rid of this axis, but before I get rid of that axis, I also want to put in a kind of a mark or a label that lets my end user know what is the total number of people admitted between ages 65 and 74. I get to see it broken up by year, but there's a chance my end user wants to know how many people total over those 3 years we're in there. So what we're going to do is this is actually going to be kind of a little hack where I'm going to put in what we would call a reference line. And then that reference line, what we're going to do is we're going to sum up our counts of people, and we're going to do it along each one of our age groups. So to add a reference line, I'm going to right click on this axis, and then we're going to come down here where it says add reference line. So what I want to do is I want to add a reference line, and I want to do it per cell. Notice Tableau is now capping each one of my bars. Notice if I do it per pane, Tableau is going to find an average for the whole pane out there because I'm not only breaking it up by age group. So Tableau would find the average of all of them. I don't want that. Instead, what I want is per cell. We can go and change it to some average. It doesn't really matter. Tableau is not factoring in the different years. So the sum and the average of the one number is going to be the exact same thing. What I do want to change though is my label. So I'm going to click on custom, and then in this little custom box next to it, I'm going to type in total : I'm going to click this insert button, and then I'm going to insert our value. So you can see what's going on behind me is that Tableau is adding in the word total with a colon and then putting in the total number of people for that specific age group. You can put tooltips on reference lines. They're automatically showing. I typically don't like them, so I'm going to go ahead and just select none. I could change what my formatting line looks like, or I could fill below or above that line. I'm not going to do any of those. At this point, I'm going to keep my reference line as is, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So now I get to see with each one of my stacked bars, not only do I see the components sum, but I get to see the total for the whole bar. Now that I have that, I'm going to come over here to my axis. I'm going to right click and uncheck show header. We see our axis or our tick marks, grid lines behind us. Let's go ahead and get rid of those by right clicking. I'm going to hit format. Come over here to lines, and then I want none for my grid lines, none for my zero lines, none for axis rulers, and also none for my axis ticks. I'm going to close that format window. And then the last thing I'm actually going to do for this one is, I think earlier when we made it, I kind of liked that these were stacked vertically. I think I'm changing my mind on that. So I'm going to go ahead and revert these back to horizontal bars. And similar to what we did with our bar chart, I'm going to hover over these till I get that double arrow. I'm going to make these a little bit taller. You'll notice our totals look a little weird here now. So let's go ahead and learn how to format those. So I'm going to right click on one of my totals, right click, and then I'm going to format this. And then here we see it says my reference line label. What I want this to do, I'm going to click on the alignment, is I want it to be left aligned. Actually, no, I want it to be right aligned. And then I want it to be centered vertically. So now we see that I have kind of a nice centered, and it's off to the right-hand side of my line label. Again, I'm going to click here to get out of that. And I'm going to close my format reference line. It looks like something is selected in my visualization, so I'm just going to click in the white area to make sure that nothing is selected. If you wanted to, what we could do is we could come up here to our fit menu. Instead of fit width, I could just do entire view. So that way Tableau is going to stack all of those age groups to take up the entire space of my view. And here we have our designed stacked bar chart compared to just our regular stacked bar chart. Like I just mentioned, I kind of, in this case, prefer the horizontal bar chart. If you prefer keeping yours as a vertical bar chart, please feel free to keep yours as a vertically stacked bar chart.